At first, you weren't invited to television debates. Now you are invited to television debates, but there's also a call by, I guess, the Prime Minister and also the opposition leader, Andrew Scheer, not to invite you or to, I guess, remove you from these upcoming debates, given that a few of your members have been considered part of white supremacist groups, which I believe that you said that you had dealt with some time ago. But I guess the bigger question is, what about the vetting process?
We did it with our candidates, we did it with our people who are sitting at the executive of the Riding Association. We're the only party who did it, and I'm proud of that. But we had and when we did it in Canada. We look at all the database in Canada, not in the US, and when we find that somebody that person was not sharing our values, we deal with that at that time. So for us, it's old news because we deal with that a month ago. And I won't call that fake news, but at least old news.
With respect to vetting members, a member that's sitting next to you, of course, is Renata Ford. And I understand that you are probably hoping to ride on that Ford legacy. And actually, the cover even of our newspaper says here how the 2019 campaign became all about Ontario. So once again, bringing in that Ford name. But I have to ask, you have no political experience.
Oh, my husband was the mayor of Toronto.
But that was your husband.
Yes, but I was working alongside with him, so I got to know the system quite well. And I got to know the people of my riding quite well, Etobicoke North. And I see that they're suffering, and I wanted to reach out and help them out. They've been neglected by the federal and provincial governments, and someone needs to do something about it, make their voices heard.
Your family has always been considered part of the Conservative Party, but why Max?
Because I believe in his policies. I believe he's the right leader for this country, for Canadians, and that's why I did my research on the different parties, and I noticed that the Liberal and the Conservatives are not much different. And I looked into the People's Party of Canada, and Rob was always a big supporter of Maxime Bernier, and we like his leadership, and that's why I went with Maxime.
And of course, you're in Etobicoke, which has been a powerful, I guess, Ford Nation supporter. But now I want to pivot to you, Max, and ask you about Beauce, because you have been very vocal about abolishing supply management, something that's part of the People's Party platform. And I'm just wondering, does that hurt you in your riding? I mean, farmers that support agriculture, and you want to abolish supply management.
Yeah, I think absolutely right. The dairy producers in my riding won't support me. That's a fact. They want to keep their privilege, and I want to work for all Canadians and people in my riding. It's not fair to force Canadians to pay twice the price for dairy, poultry, and milk. We must change that, and we are the only party to speak about it. So I'm saying to my people in Beauce, I'm saying to people from my riding that I'm ready. I'm the same guy. I want to work for you, for every Beauce home, for every person in my riding, and not for that cartel. And I may pay a political price for that. But that's doing politics based on conviction, and I have the courage of my conviction, and it would be a little bit a tougher election than I had in the past, I admit that, but I think I can win.
And that area seems to be potentially on lockdown with a Conservative, I guess, running in that same area as you are, a former mayor.
Yeah, but also he's a dairy producer. So, I had a debate actually last Monday in my riding in Beauce, and we had a debate about supply management. It's an important issue in my riding. And I told him, you are there to protect your own financial interests. And he doesn't want to be sure that Canadians and people in my riding will save $400. Every family will save $400 if we abolish that. So I'm very pleased that he's a dairy producer, because I'm proving to the population that he doesn't want to work for all the people in my riding. He's working with the cartel, the UPA in Quebec, and they want to keep their privilege. And for me, that's okay. That's human nature. When you have a privilege, you want to keep it, but it's unfair.
Not in your head.
Yeah, it's because of Etobicoke North, people are struggling to pay their rent, to put good food on their table, and to make ends meet. So, I mean, this is a great proposal for them. It reduces their cost of living, which is very important to the people of my riding.
I want to bring out some of the elements that are in the People's Party of Canada platform.
Yeah.
You've most recently said that you'd like to remove the Indian Act.
Yeah, that is our policy for First Nation. It's more a principle policy based on principle, fairness and respect and property rights on reserve. But our goal is, yes, to remove the Indian Act. But the challenge is by what after that? So that's why we are ready to have consultation when we'll be in government. But our goal is to remove that. We want the First Nation to be, and these people to be like Canadians on a lot of point of view. Right now, that's not normal that they cannot have running water on reserve. So we need to fix that. But it must not be imposed by Ottawa, a top-down bureaucrat decision. So our policy, it's based for a better future for these First Nation. At the same time, respecting the treaties that we signed with them.
Renata, Etobicoke North and Etobicoke, obviously, a key issue is housing affordability.
Right.
Maxime's response to that is immigration.
Well,
Not only that.
it's responsible immigration, and we need to, keep the money here in Canada for Canadians. Leave more, for the people that are here. That's what responsible immigration is.
Yeah, but about the immigration, it's a fact. 41% of our new immigrants are coming to Toronto, and that's putting pressure on the price for housing. So yes, immigration can be a solution, but the most important is to give more of their own money in their own pockets, at Canadians' pockets. So what we want to do, we want to have 2 tax rate and instead of 5, and people will save $35 billion a year. That's the saving that people will have in this country. And we have a policy that is good for also the poor in this country. We will raise the personal exemption to $15,000, and we'll have a flat rate of 15% for earning more than $15,000 to 100K, and more than 100K it will be 25%. So we have a tax policy that will give more money in their pockets, and they will be able to do what they want with that money. Buying a house or paying for school or for other goods or services that they want. So I'm not doing politics based, I'll give you a tax credit because the price of electricity is very high. And it's not fair giving a tax credit. Andrew Scheer wants to do that. It's not fair for people who don't have a house. So we need to have a policy that is fair for everybody, and the policy that is fair is to lower taxes to everybody. So they will have more money to do what they want, and if they want to buy a house, perfect for them.
On the issue of climate change, you have suggested that there is no way that we can meet the numbers for the Paris Accord.
It's not only me who's saying that, the UN are saying that also. If you want to achieve the Paris Accord targets, you need to impose a carbon tax of $300 a ton, not $50 a ton. And Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer are not responsible when they are speaking to Canadians and telling we will achieve the Paris Accord target. I'm saying the truth. We won't sign the Paris Accord, and the environment, it's a shared jurisdiction with provinces. If they want to deal with that, they can do that at the provincial level. And actually, my own province in Quebec, they're doing that. They have a cap and trade system, so the carbon tax won't apply in Quebec. So we're different than Andrew Scheer and Justin Trudeau. Andrew Scheer wants to have more regulation and imposing a tax on the big emitters, and Justin Trudeau the carbon tax. So for us, no carbon tax, no more regulation, and let provinces deal with that if they want.
I was at the Conservative Party Leadership Convention a few years ago.
I was not there.
And those numbers were 51% for Andrew Scheer, 49% for Maxime Bernier. Is the Conservative Party and Andrew Scheer your biggest foe in this fight?
No, I don't think so. I think that he's almost the same as the Liberals. He's trying to please everyone, and he ends up pleasing no one.
Yeah, and they're the same. They're the same they are not able to balance the budget in 2 years. If you're a real conservative, you must be able to balance the budget in 2 years. And Scheer is saying, oh no, it's too difficult. I need 5 years. So it's not responsible. We need to do that. The deficits of today are the taxes of tomorrow. Cutting foreign aids and not giving money to fight climate change in Africa, $2.3 billion that the Trudeau government are giving to African countries to fight climate change. Bring back that money here. We can save a lot of money when you have responsible and bold policies that are in line with our principle, and we are telling the truth to Canadians. So it's doable to balance the budget in 2 years. And Scheer, Trudeau, and all the other parties, political parties, are speaking about more and more. And we know spending, you cannot spend your way to prosperity. The only way to be able to create jobs is by more investment. The private sector. Sorry if I believe in the private sector. Sorry if I believe in Canadians. I have faith in Canadians that they know better than us.
Do you believe in the polls? Because I think the polls have you at about 2-3%.
The real one would be the 21st
That's
of October,
right.
and I don't believe that we are at 2 or 3%. I'm doing some rally all across the country, and we have 400 people coming to our rally. Something is happening in this country,
Yes.
and I think
we
you're
feel
right.
it. Yeah.
The populist movement, it is happening in Canada. We're not apart from Europe and other countries, but we are doing politics differently. A smart populist political movement. We are speaking to the intelligence of Canadians, not to their emotion. You know, when I started to speak about ending the cartel in supply management, only 10% of the population were on my side. But you know, it's a nice challenge. I spoke about that, and now if you do a poll, it would be 45%. So we have the right ideas. We have the freedom ideas. So we have to speak about it with passion, with conviction, and the more support we'll have. And you'll be surprised the 21st of October.
Do you care about the comparisons to Donald Trump, the U.S. president, south of the border?
I don't care. I'm myself. People who know me, I'm a Canadian politician. I'm doing politics here in Canada.
Are you tired of hearing that?
Yeah, well, I think that's ridiculous. We're here in Canada, and we should be dealing with the policies that, our policies, not Donald Trump's policies.
Well, the U.S. president has suggested building a wall. Maxime has suggested building a fence in Manitoba and Quebec.
Where they are crossing the border, and it will be a fence. And actually, we have fence along our borders in some places, so that's not new. But we're very generous Canadian, and I want our CMP official to, instead of saying you can cross our border illegally, come to Canada. I want them to be there, just in front of the fence, and saying to these people, you want to come to Canada? You will come. Over there's an official port of entry. You can come, you'll be welcome. But they don't want to cross there because they're not real refugees, and they will have to go back to the US. And Canadians are generous, and they want to help the real refugees that are waiting in a camp where their life is in danger. That's being a Canadian, not 45,000 illegal migrants that are crossing here. The cost for our society every year is $350 million. We cannot afford that. We need to be sure that people will respect our borders, and it's too bad that the only one to speak about that. There's nothing radical about it. Being sure that people will respect our borders, what's that? And being open to the people who needs to be here because their life is in danger, that's a Canadian way of life.